This episode is brought to you by Tina's Vodka.
Hi, everybody. I'm Vanessa Richardson. I am the sideline reporter for the Houston Rockets on Space City Home Network, and this is Her Table.
Now you see her.
You are magnificent!
Welcome to Her Table, the podcast that shines a spotlight on the badass women who are redefining the game. Join hosts Kate Foley and Megan Martinez as they unlock the secrets of success from the brightest female pioneers in the industry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Her Table. We are so excited to be here in Las Vegas for NBA Summer League. I am so excited to welcome in our guest, Vanessa Richardson. She is the sideline reporter for the Houston Rockets.
Vanessa is such a great energy. I've seen her many times over. We actually figured out that we've known each other for a little bit longer than we expected, so more than just today. But I'm so excited to see what her passion is, how she got where she is, and just how amazing her experience has been. She is a go-getter. She wanted to learn and earn her way through this business, and I cannot wait to break down where she started, where she is, but more importantly, where she's going.
Exactly, and she's done so much in short amount of time, so I'm excited for our listeners to hear more about how she has found success in the sports world. So Vanessa, pull up a chair and let's get started at Her Table.
Well, welcome to Her Table.
I'm so excited
to have you here.
I'm pumped.
I know we're in Las Vegas, hot Las Vegas.
It is
The lights are
very hot.
Yes.
The lights are hot. The arena is hot.
It
but
is.
we are making it work.
The energy is hot in
The
this
energy is
building.
hot.
Yeah, it's wild.
Good basketball, good people. You
It's
and I,
great.
we were all
People
able to walk
watching.
around.
Yeah.
Oh, the people watching in Vegas is second to none.
It's one of my favorite places. I will say Vegas. When you get to and you're like, I have a little bit of time in the airport. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, you see at the airport, you
just
see
watch.
people that are just fighting for their lives.
yeah, I've been one of those people.
Yeah,
I'm sure someone's
you know what?
watched
Let's be
me
honest, we
fight
all
for
have.
my life in the airport.
I
Yes.
too have struggled in the Vegas airport. Yep. Count me in.
It is. Okay, well, I'm so excited to get you on the show. I want to
Yes.
dive in and celebrate
Yeah.
you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got where you started in sports. Like, walk us down the path of started
Yeah.
here and here I am at the Rockets.
Well, I love my job, and so I feel super fortunate. I'm from Terre Haute, Indiana, so it's about an hour from Indianapolis.
Okay.
And just loved sports growing up. My late father would take me to Colts training camp, and we went to every high school basketball game imaginable, went to a lot of college basketball games. So I knew that I wanted to do this from the time I was in
You did.
7th grade.
Did you see
and-
somebody on TV and were like, this is who I want to be? Like, did you have a I want to be her moment?
It's
or
funny
what?
because this is why I say representation with women in sports is so important, not just for on TV, for every industry, because I saw that and knew that I could do it. And so, there were so many great, Michelle Tafoya and Lisa Salters and women that have been at it for a long time, but they maybe weren't allowed in locker rooms at first or whatever. So it's been cool to see that. And I have obviously reaped the benefit of, women being able to be in these spaces. So yeah, I knew I wanted to do it in high school. I went to college and got a job as a freshman in college at actually jazz and classical radio station.
What?
What
were you doing there though? Were you picking music or
all
what?
of the above? And I took the job because it allowed me to cover the Indianapolis pro sports scene. So I could get a media credential to cover the Colts, the Indy 500, the Pacers, all of that.
The jazz radio station could get a
You're
sports
right.
credential.
Yep.
Like, girl, you just
Women.
And so
laid that.
on Friday nights,
Beautifully.
you would hear, this is smooth jazz with Vanessa.
No way.
True story, but love that. My junior and senior year, I was like the in-arena host for the Pacers, did it for the AAA affiliate in Indy. And so took a job out of college for NBC in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing morning traffic, afternoon news, and then I would come in at night on my own time and do sports. So I would wake up at 2 a.m. to do the morning show for traffic and be the traffic girl telling you where not to go. But it made me really good on my feet.
Yeah.
So it was one of those jobs where I took it just so I could do sports, but it ended up making me better. And so 2 years at NBC in Cincinnati, 2 years NBC in Houston to cover, and that was full-time sports. Yeah. And decided to kind of take a leap of faith and get out of local news. I wanted to kind of develop my voice more and just challenge myself. So I took a job hosting a sports talk radio show on ESPN Radio in Houston. And did that, and then landed this incredible job with the Rockets.
We always talk about how much people sacrifice, and how much women sacrifice to get to where they are. And we even discussed this before, where you always want this dream job right off the bat. You graduate college and you're expected, I want to be on camera.
Yeah.
And people forget about how many Smooth Jazz with Vanessa. Like these little jobs that you would never think of.
By the way, I'm saving your name in my phone as Smooth Jazz
Vanessa.
Please do. Please do.
Can you talk about the sacrifices you've had to make just to get to where you are today?
Well, I always try to put perspective. Like, I'm not out here saving lives. Okay, I'm not a neurosurgeon, but it is very time consuming, as you all know.
Yes.
You work on holidays. You travel nonstop. You know, I was out there with a camera in my hand shooting high school football highlights in Houston. And, you know, like I said, I woke up at 2 a.m. and did morning traffic for 2 years just so I could cover sports. And so it's a lot of time. You do miss a lot. You know, you have to miss some weddings. You have to miss some family things. And, you know, the solution there is you try to make it up when you can. But, yeah, there have been a lot of sacrifices. It has been worth it to get to where I am now.
Right.
But, you know, I think the women before me also set a good example of that's just how it is. And if you're afraid of the grind, you should stay far, far away from our industry.
It's funny because I always say too, like, I think one of the things that's interesting for me is in my career, I sacrificed so much. Like, I missed so much stuff at the early part of my career that now I'm in a place where I'm like, I want to send someone else.
Yep.
I'm like very picky and choosy now. I'm like, do I want to spend time here? Because it's like Swin Cash said the other day, like, where she puts her time and intention is her biggest asset.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, that's so true because you only have so many hours in a day. You only have so much finite time and you want to spend it with people that love you, people that encourage you and empower you. But at the same time, it needs to further your own cause and goal. You touched earlier on, that's so important, how you were at Smooth Jazz Radio.
Oh, yeah.
But like you took jobs that weren't at the top.
No.
Because you wanted to get experience. And I think we talk a lot on the show sometimes about how you just get any experience you can. You never know what that's going to add to your tool belt. You never know how it's going to like make you better. How did you know you wanted to do that early on? Because that's not a normal trait. Most people are like, I just want to be a manager. And you're like, no, I want to be in the weeds and then get to the manager. What made you take that route?
Well, I appreciate that. I think when you're on air, you know, you're a reporter, all that, like you have to get a lot of reps. You have to get a lot of at-bats. And if you get those reps, and when I say reps, I mean like you're live on TV, which, you know, you're going to have embarrassing moments. You're going to mess up. Like that's just part of it. Yeah. And so I knew that I needed at-bats and I knew that I needed reps. And, you know, I was not afraid to take the jobs maybe that were not as glamorous. It really is the relationships. Paired with the fact that I didn't say no to anything. And to your point, I love that you brought this up because as you get older, you can definitely say no to things.
Yeah, once you've like earned your stripes.
Correct. Once
but
you've paid
not
your
in the
dues.
beginning.
But at the beginning, you cannot say no.
Yeah,
and you need to take every job you can get and you need to figure it out. Yeah. And that is how you earn the
ability
next step.
to do it.
So I think it's say yes to that. Everyone's like, well, what advice? Say yes to everything. And build relationships, you know, that are based in trust because it is a relationship-based industry.
Well, and I think it's hard because, especially for women in sports, you work in a male sport now. Like,
oh, for sure,
it's hard because you want to authentically be yourself. And I think Megan and I talk all the time. Early in my career, like, this is not Kate when she started. Like, it was like, be muted, hide in the back, don't speak up, don't raise your hand, like, just be happy to be there. And now I'm like, hell no. Like,
be you.
You should be happy to be at my table.
Ooh,
this is, you know what I mean?
Her table, by the way. Her
like,
table.
You know what I mean? And
this
it's
is
hard
the Her Table
because
podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
It's hard because you don't really know who you are when you're younger, and you're trying to figure it out. And it can either mold you into somebody you're not, it can allow you to become something you're not, or it can really bring to the front of who you actually are. And so many young girls. That's why I think if you can see her, you can be her is such a great mantra, especially for us at the show, because if people don't know what you do, how you got here, how do you, it's like, we joke, all these jobs, you apply for them, and I'm like, what is that?
Right.
Half of the time, the job isn't exactly what it's supposed to be, but you have to have enough confidence in yourself. You have to have enough willingness to be curious to say, if I don't know, I'm going to figure it out. Instead of like, well, I'm not qualified.
Right.
Half
Figure
the shit
it
I've
out.
done in my life, I'm not qualified
Figure
for.
it out.
I'm still not qualified, but we're figuring it out. We're totally not qualified for the show.
No, I always,
absolutely
First
not.
of all, yes, you are. I always have to tell young women this, though, that they're like, well, there's a job open and I'm not qualified. Well, the men are going to apply.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it is?
You know, it's whatever variant, whatever term you want to use, imposter syndrome, not having confidence, but the men apply.
Yeah.
So apply. The worst that can happen is you don't get the job.
Yeah.
But you might have something that they really like, or you might have a relationship that the other applicants don't have with you know,
or
somebody at the top.
Totally.
Right.
It's interesting because I went through this in pre-draft where I was like, just messaging GMs, talking to teams, trying to get guys work out. And I felt guilty. Like, I just texted you yesterday. You didn't respond. I'm going to message you again. I'm going to call you again.
Yeah.
And I said to say to myself, no dude is giving a shit that he has called this team 3 times. Why, as a female, do I feel like, oh, am I being too much? Like, are they going to be annoyed and not respond? And I was like, no, this is my job. Everyone else would do it. And I had to remind myself to do it the way everyone else would do it is what you have to do. And as women, we second guess ourselves so much. Like, we beat ourselves down.
We really do.
And it's sad. And so I love when we can have women that just elevate and support each other. But I love to see a man do that for another woman. Have you had anybody be that, like, lean in guy for you that's like...
I have had a lot of male champions in my career that have been professional and have helped me for the right reasons. One of the first names that comes to mind is Kevin Burkhardt, who obviously hosts pregame, postgame for the World Series. He's the #1 Fox, NFL. He's going to be working with Tom Brady this fall. Kevin was, I met him very early in my career when I was covering the NFL and smooth jazz radio stationing it, and he is very honest with me. Early on, when I was trying to get reps, he would give me honest criticism, introduce me to people. So Kevin has been a really big supporter of my career.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think it's so important too. You have those mentors, those people that can give you that advice so you can improve yourself and move on to the
male
next
and
goal.
female.
Exactly. Now, take us through your normal day to day as a Rocket sideline reporter.
Let's do day in the life. Let's do game day.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might need to narrow this down. And she's like, well, today, hold on, what did you do today, though?
Today, we had shoot around in the morning.
And then where'd you go?
I went to work out, and then I got my hair done, and now I'm here.
Oh, you got your hair done. It's looking fabulous.
It looks so
Shout out to
good.
Dry Bar.
Dry Bar. If you look good, you feel good,
Exactly.
play good, pay good.
Yeah.
Like, it's that mantra all day long. If I feel good, you cannot stop me. I don't care who you are.
I saw it. You should see this girl walking earlier through. She's she's like
zero.
True
Ready
story.
To go.
You look
Ready
good.
to go.
Absolutely. Day in the life, game day. So we wake up, and I don't know why I said we. Like, we're this is just me.
You and there's you, and then there's smooth jazz Vanessa.
Yeah.
So it's the we.
Yes.
We there's shoot
Love it.
around in the morning.
Yep.
For NBA game day, we usually have a shoot around. So you wake up, go to shoot around, and that is where I do my final interviews before the game that night. So I'll pull, coach or one of our players to the side to get information that I can, just little nuggets for the broadcast that night that can help enhance the broadcast, tell a story. And so do those interviews at shoot around, and then usually go back to the hotel, do a lot of prep. And I prep a little bit the night before, but game day you find out more about injuries and whatnot. So prep in my hotel room, usually try to get a workout in and eat something semi-healthy, and then shower, get ready for game day. Obviously, being on camera, you do have to look your best, so it takes a little while to get ready.
Glam village.
And then by the time the game starts, usually I have a hit in our pregame show. And then, I do a pregame presser with head coach. And again, just kind of, I might go to the locker room, ask some guys some final questions if there's any burning questions I have. And then obviously the game broadcast begins. I do a halftime interview with one of our wonderful assistant coaches, and they always give me a lot of great insights. So shout out to our coaching staff. And then if we win, a post-game interview.
If you lose, what happens?
Go straight to the locker room. And then we do interviews in the locker room that go on our post-game show.
Okay.
So
Presser, locker room.
Yeah, well, we do a presser as well. Post-game presser, locker room. And then, past that, usually at that point it's late.
She goes home and unplugs.
Yeah,
And
unplugged.
she puts her sweatpants on and watches Love Island UK. And talk nothing to me anymore.
For home games, yes. For away games, and what a lot of people don't understand is we usually, let's say we're on a road trip, we leave after the game for the next place. So if we're playing the Portland Trailblazers and then our next destination is LA to play the Lakers, we leave after that Portland Trailblazers game, land at a hotel super late. I mean, sometimes it's 2-3 in the morning.
Wow.
And then, you have that day the next day to hopefully catch up on sleep. But so the travel is, I love the travel, but the travel is a grind.
It's a grind.
For sure.
It's a grind. It's a huge grind. And I think it's, it's interesting to watch. I mean, even for me on this side, there's guys on teams that their job is to tell you how much to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many guys I've had. They're telling me I'm sleeping too long for a pregame nap, or I'm not sleeping long enough. One of my guys playing today, Keenan just started working in his pregame nap.
I love the pregame nap for him.
Yeah. Right. And I actually was saying to myself, we need to take a pregame nap podcast. Like, we need to have like a relaxation room. Like, what are we doing here? We're just on go until we're done.
The idea of a pregame nap, and to your point, the guys and men and female athletes are having more direction as far as like sports psychology, holistic health. I think it's great.
Yeah. No, it's good to see, because I think it's an underserved dimension to sports that people don't really understand.
Mental health, all of that.
It's not, yes, they are athletes, but they're also people.
Right.
And I think it's always interesting for me, especially with the guys, our young guys, they don't realize like how hard this shit is when you go to a new spot. How do you prepare for games, and how do you build that trust with the athletes? Because I'm the agent that's like, we're not talking to you because he had a game.
You're my worst enemy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm like,
my worst
I'm like,
enemy.
today is not it. He's not going to give me anything good. Call me tomorrow and we'll make it up.
I get it.
But like at the same time, though, you have a job to do. And so that's where these guys have to find the balance of like what they want to do and what they're required to do.
It is such a balance, and it is a great question. It depends on the outlet you're working for. So if you're with an outlet that's not a team partner, you might not get as great of access, but you have to work really hard to build those relationships. With my role right now, fortunately, being with the team, I get fairly good access. And the building trust is a tricky thing because you have a job to do, but at the same time, to your point, these guys have lives. They have families. They have good days and bad days, just like everybody else.
They got drama as well.
Yeah. So I think it's making sure they know, especially from the team perspective, that I'm in their corner.
Right.
That I am never going to say anything on TV or tweet anything or report anything that would harm them, that would make them look bad. And fortunately, we have an amazing roster full of really good guys, so that's not a problem. But being allowed in those spaces, which I'm very fortunate that Coach Udoka has allowed, being at practices, shoot-arounds, being in those spaces, it's just protecting and respecting their privacy. There's some day that the guys aren't feeling it. They don't want to do an interview. That's okay.
Yeah.
So there's no quick way to build trust. I think it has to happen over time. Yeah. And as media members, we have to not be arrogant and assume that we just automatically get it or deserve it. Because you have to earn it.
Right.
Yeah.
We talk about too, like, work-life balance is such a thing. When you're traveling, you're on the road, you're covering games, you're staying up super late at night covering games. How are you able to kind of find time for your family and friends, but then on top of it, still put your career, top, because that's your job?
It's a really good question. The work always comes first. And I remember when I was covering the Texans, J.J. Watt said that to the rookies. And he was talking more about these brand deals or like all of these different cool things that can happen, for athletes now that the work had to come first before they would participate in any of that. And so I think just having kind of that mindset, not that I'm JJ Watt, but
I mean, you're a lot prettier than JJ Watt. I'm just going to put that out there.
That is true.
I'm not saying JJ Watt's not handsome, but he is not beautiful. So.
But, to your point though, work-life balance matters. And so once you've completed your work, I think it's okay on the road to go grab dinner with a friend that you have in that city, or make time to go to a Pilates class, or stay in your room. I'm a big room service gal.
Are you?
If the hotel is
when I travel, I used to be that way.
I put the comfy robe on. I sit in my bed. I order room service. I watch whatever I want, and I go to bed. Usually Dateline, NBC.
Ooh, you're a murder girl like me too.
Big murder girl.
We were just talking about this.
Big murder girl.
Yesterday, I was like, if I ever, we're gonna,
People are like, what do you do on the road? And they think I'm like in these clubs.
Like,
I am in a bathrobe. I am enjoying room service, and I am watching Dateline.
And she's trying to solve the crime.
I am, and the husband always says it. So it's not hard.
Side note: have you watched The Jinx yet?
I haven't. My mom told me I need to watch
The Jinx. That's my challenge to you. You have to watch that while you're here. You're gonna be mind blown by it.
She loves true crime podcasts. All that.
If I could have my own true crime podcast,
game over,
dude.
I've been obsessed with Dateline since I was like 10 years old.
Do you know that they say there's something wrong with us because we like murder stuff? And I'm like, okay, cool, keep it moving.
I don't enjoy the fact
so
that
really
people get.
I
don't enjoy the fact that people get murdered. It's not
it's
that. It's the mystery.
Yeah,
It's solving it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you are not alone. But yeah,
Thank
on the
God.
road, on the road, it's great to have dinners, bond with people, or sometimes you just stay in your room, and but you do have to make time for yourself, and you have to make time for sleep, and you have to make time to eat healthy, and keep somewhat of a routine.
Yeah.
I think it's weird because when I started in this, I would always just be in my room, and now I find myself, I'm like, do I want to be, or I'll be like, I'm just wearing sweats down to the hotel bar and give 2 shits who's in there. Like, I don't care. I'm not here for you. I'm here for myself. So I can drink a glass of wine and not feel like an alcoholic in my room.
There you go. So
I'm going to drink down here in my sweatpants, and I'm going to go upstairs and watch some murder mystery.
Every night has a different vibe. It of course depends the city you're in. Like if I'm in a city where I have a really good friend, then of course you want to meet that friend for dinner and have a good time with her. But it depends. It might not be as, it's exciting, but there's definitely like the days are long, and especially like I said, those mornings where shoot around might begin at 9:30, and then I'm not leaving the arena until 10 something 11.
Yeah.
What are you eating pregame?
Pregame I try to keep it healthy. As you know, the camera does add 10 pounds. So
yes, I do know.
No, usually just like a salad, fruit. I'm a big seafood gal.
Oh, are you?
Salmon, scallops, whatever.
Okay.
Truthfully, my favorite food is Mexican food, but if I eat that before I go on camera, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that I would recommend that.
No.
I think that might come with a warning.
Yeah, correct. I don't think the players would appreciate it either. But
you're like, yeah, I'll be out in 5 seconds.
I keep it light pregame. Yeah. We're very fortunate. The owner of the Rockets, Tillman Fertitta, owns Landry's Restaurant.
Yes.
So Ocean Air, McCormick and Schmick's, Mastro's. So
you get to eat there for free.
So a lot of times we just have these really great spreads on the plane or whatnot. So very fortunate.
He's fantastic. So we've seen the culture kind of shift in Houston. I've had a couple guys in Houston, some on Rio Grande.
Okay.
So I think, there's a lot of culture shift going on right now in the NBA. And there's a lot of teams that are rebuilding. There's a lot that are trying to hold on. And then there's some that are just trying to figure out are we going to turn right or turn left? We don't know. Where do you feel like you guys are at right now in a culture setting as far as on the court and off the court?
It's been, and it's going to be easy for people to watch this and say, okay, well, you work with the team, so that's why. But here's the reality. They brought in great vets with Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks. You can have whatever opinion you want on Dylan, but he is a great leader on the team. They brought in vets. They hired an unbelievable coaching staff full of former players that have credentials, have the pedigree, and they've drafted really well. Yeah. And so the potential, now the West is difficult. The West is tricky, but that combination of great coaching, bringing in veterans and then drafting these rookies that have so much promise. We're about to see Reed Shepherd's first game tonight. That's a formula for success. And so I feel really good about the culture, the direction of the franchise. The general manager, Rafael Stone, has done a great job of drafting, he and his team. And then Ime Udoka brought in, like I said, just a complete culture shift. And so it's been really cool to see up front. And any rebuild for any sport is painful. If you're a sports fan, you've probably gone through a phase where your team has not done well and it's hard. But Rockets fans stuck it out. And now the direction that the team is going, and as somebody that, like I said, I'm at every shoot around, I'm at every practice, seeing the guys, how locked in they are, it's trending up. It really is.
That's exciting. It. Yeah, I believe it.
I love it. What do you feel like for you has been one of your biggest challenges? You're a beautiful woman. You're in front of a camera. Like, people know who you are. Like, what has been a challenge for you that you feel like you've had to overcome in this space?
The biggest challenge of my life was, losing my dad. And I would say the biggest challenge of the industry is just I'm very hard on myself. And I think a lot of us, we have insecurities. I'm not too terrible about like comparing myself to others. I'm good at staying in my lane, but I'm very hard just on myself in general. Yep. And so, I think I've had to learn to give myself grace when maybe I do a hit that I don't like, or I don't feel like I look good or anything like that.
Do you watch them?
I don't like watching myself.
I can't either.
I can't.
I say this like I don't have people are like, how can you not watch yourself? I'm like, I don't have the self-confidence to watch myself not be mean to myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've had to be like, I'm not even gonna give myself the opportunity. Yeah. I'm just gonna they're like, did you watch the show, or do you remember you said this? I'm like, yeah, sure, I have no idea. I can't watch it because I'm not nice to myself. I haven't figured out a way to have the balance.
A good therapist
to do it.
Has told me, and it's true, like you have to talk to yourself like you talk to your friends.
I know.
Yeah. And it's so true. So I think, look, I'm like a lot of women, I'm hard on myself. That's probably a challenge. The other big challenge is just the grind of the industry. It is hard to miss holidays. It's hard to, be sleep deprived. It's difficult. There are different challenges, but it's worth it. I love it. I really do.
To switch gears too, though, but when you're talking about like working with the Pacers, working with, Indy 500, Colts, the Rockets, what has been your most memorable experience in your career?
Oh my God, most memorable. From a personal perspective, going to the Indy 500, with my dad was always really special. Covering NBA All-Star this year was great. It was my worlds colliding because it was back home in the Indianapolis area. But I also got to, watch one of our young players, Jabari Smith Jr., play in the Rising Stars game. And so there's been a lot. I've been very fortunate. I got to cover the Super Bowl in LA when I was with ESPN Radio. I got to do MLB All-Star in LA. And there's a lot of those big memories and those big moments that I'm forever grateful for. I think the moments, though, that I'm also grateful for are the ones that might not make it on camera, just seeing the growth from players and seeing, like, tonight our players' parents will be here watching their kids, and it's so cool to watch them be proud. And so there's a lot of the big moments. It's like, oh, yeah, you covered the Super Bowl, you covered the Indy 500, you covered All-Star, and those are amazing, and I'm grateful. But the relationships and just meeting these guys' families and watching their path and their development is really special to me.
Wow.
It is.
I love that. Yeah, I always say to everyone, the big moments you see are often not the most impactful moments.
Agreed.
Personally. Those ones are great. It's the little moments where you have the like ahas of like, okay, this is why I do this, or this is why I do it. And I think I started to see them like through my family, through my dad, of like watching them be proud. Because I think we say this too, like, you're in this industry, you're used to it, it's fast paced. Like, I'm like, whatever, we're on the floor, don't care, we'll sit. Where are we gonna sit? Front row. I don't care. And people are like, that's not normal. And you don't live a normal life, like as far as a career, right? Like, you're not a 9-to-5er, like a lot of people. How do you manage to have successful relationships with friends who, because I struggle with it, because even like my friends right now, they're like, you're not cool, relax. Like, don't send any more selfies.
There's nothing, your friends, nobody roasts you like your best friend.
And I love them for it. I love them for it. But it is when you meet new people, it's hard to be like, I find sometimes I dumb myself down. Because
interesting, you dull your shine.
I do.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to tell you what I do because I feel like it might intimidate you or make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I find myself dumbing it down, and I'm not advocating for that because I don't think that's right, but that's what I do, and I've noticed it. I'm like, why? Like, why can't I be like, this is what I do and it's cool? Why do I have to be like, oh, why am I weird about it?
Yeah.
Like, just say what it is.
I mean, I think there's two conversations here. I think there's like with men, right? Men being sometimes intimidated or like dating guys can be tricky because they're like, oh my gosh, you're like in a locker room, you're around guys, so it takes a very secure man to be in a relationship with a woman that works in sports. The other side of it, the friend side of it, is I think just a general, you want them to feel good about themselves too. But I always tell my friends, most of my friends are like, I have a lot of friends in the industry, but I also have a lot of friends that are nurses, teachers. I'm just as proud of them, stay-at-home moms, as they are of me.
Yeah.
And so I always try to make that clear of like, I have a unique job, but my friends that are nurses and that are, taking care of the elderly or whatever they do, like what they do
those
is more
people are
important.
like changing lives sometimes.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm like, you're actually saving lives. We're over here just trying not to die in Vegas, and you're actually saving a life. No, it's an interesting space because I think as women, oftentimes we really do want to say like, hey, this is what I do and be proud. And so I love when I can watch other women champion for other women.
Yeah.
And be like, she's a badass. Like, because, and that's why this show is so important.
It is.
Yeah. What is that, by the way? Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry, I felt like the whole world was collapsing.
There's a lot of no earthquakes here in Vegas, ladies. No earthquakes.
Knock on wood.
Not today.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe
after
tomorrow.
our show tomorrow. But I just feel like it's so important, especially for the show and any show that can just celebrate women, because it's not easy. Like, being in this world is not easy. There have been moments where I'm like, why am I here? I am not built for this. And then there's moments where I'm like, hell yeah, Kate. This is what you were created for. Have you ever had the moment where you doubted yourself and your ability?
Sure.
Early in your career, probably?
I definitely have had those what am I doing moments. And I think it was earlier when I had those really difficult jobs where I was carrying a camera, covering high school football, living away from my family, where it's like, this is really difficult. And that's why I tell young women, like, if you hang in there, you have to earn it. But if you hang in there, it's really fun. It's really worth it. I love what I do now so much that I don't question it, to tell you the truth. But early in my career, there were times where and social media makes it tricky because you're working on a weekend and you see your friends on a boat somewhere back home and you're missing that. You're missing it. And so it is difficult, I think, early on when you have those really grinded out jobs, not to feel some type of way. But I've definitely had moments where I've doubted myself and one of the men that I love who's been a champion for my career is right there, Matt Bullard. Hi. Matt's the best. Hi.
Hi, Matt.
I love Matt. Matt works for the Rockets.
Nice.
He's great. But so I think it's hard in any industry. You are going to have those moments and doubt yourself. I don't think ours is unique in that way.
No.
And for the young women too who watch, who want to be the next you or who want to be, come into being a sideline reporter for NBA, NFL, whatever it may be. What skill sets have you learned? Maybe if it was in college or early in your career, would you suggest those women take those classes? Or if it's going, outside of college and then transitioning into workspaces, what would you tell those young women to do?
That want to do sideline, number one, say yes to everything, which I mentioned earlier, but I cannot, I don't ever want to hear a young person be like, oh, I don't want to cover volleyball. I don't care.
I don't want to work that late.
I don't want to go to local
have to
news.
get up early.
I'm not going to, exactly. Or, I don't want to do, it's like you don't get to do what you want right out of the gate. So number one, say yes to everything. And I would say, number two, just keep in mind that it is a relationship-based business. So don't burn bridges. Networking sounds like an annoying word, but it is important to meet people like we talked about, earn trust. And then the last thing I would say is just get those live reps, however you can. If that means that you're, doing things digitally, but nothing when you're talking about sideline and you watch the best of the best. So Lisa Salters, Erin Andrews, Allie LaForce for NBA, whatever. That's live, right? Which sounds live. So you need to be live and you need to be able to work through technical difficulties. Having some crazy things happen while you're interviewing a player, which I've certainly had. So I just say yes to everything, build relationships, and then try to be live as much as possible so you can build that skill set.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's always funny in sports, what makes each role work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think it is so true. The relationship part is so important. But I also think finding, for me, because people are going to see you and be like, who's that? You're a girl, you're beautiful. So if they don't know who you are, it's the amount of times it's whose girlfriend is that? Whose wife is that?
I get that.
And you get I used to be offended.
I get that a lot.
I do too. And I used to be offended. And now I'm just so I make it a point now, if I don't know someone, to introduce myself.
Yes.
To nip it in the bud quickly. If I don't know you, I'm going to make sure you know what I mean? I'm just going to cut it out.
I get asked if I'm a cheerleader, which by the way is not an insult. Shout out to the cheerleaders around the league. And then I get asked which player I'm with. And then that is usually how it goes. I don't get offended by it because it's part of it. I think, as there are women in more spaces in social media, there are women, the Rockets, their president is a woman, which I think is amazing. VP of communications is a woman. At our network, Space City Home Network, we have producers. As there are women filling more roles, you hope that people stop assuming you're dating a player or that you're a cheerleader. Again, not that there's anything wrong with both of those things, but you hope that they look at a woman and say, oh, I wonder if she's an executive. Because she might be. And actually shout out to the Rockets and Space City Home Network, because there are a lot of women in very influential roles. And there are also women, I think this is important, that are at the quote unquote lower levels, because that allows them to work their way up.
100%.
And so there's a lot of that at the network I work for and the Rockets, and it's really impressive.
Yeah, it's always so fascinating, because I sometimes would get, when I was younger, I would get so offended.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, they don't know any different. No, they don't know any different, and they're where they're at. And I try and give people grace, so I'll correct you once. If I have to correct you twice, it's a different conversation. But I'm going to give you grace the first time. But it's just an interesting space, because I think women in sports are continuing to have more influence, more of a role. And I think being visible and vocal is so important, because if people don't understand what you do, they can't understand how to become you.
Yeah.
And if you can't explain that, express that, or make it to a place, so many young girls are in this arena today.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so important, even when we go around the arena or we see them, it's just acknowledging them and letting them ask us questions, and then making ourselves available to them, because it is intimidating whether you're a male or a female in this industry, because somebody's always more powerful than you.
Oh, for sure.
And so you're just like, hey, I just want to meet great people.
Yeah.
My mantra is do the right things for the right reasons with the right people. And if you fit within that wheelhouse, then let's just all day long.
Yeah.
Other than that, stay over there.
Yeah.
Just stay over there.
A lot of women in a lot of different roles now, which I think is important.
Where do you see the NBA going in the next 2 or 3 years? Like we're seeing Swin Cash
Amazing. She's
continue to rise.
Yeah.
And, there's so many, like Laurent Fernand, the GM of the Cleveland Charger, looking at the Sacramento Kings have a women's head coach for the G League.
The G League, yeah.
Lindsay Hardy. Like you're seeing like all of these women finally have a place. The amount of pressure that they feel probably is insane.
Yeah.
But I also think as women, we have a responsibility to cheerlead for them. You know what I mean?
agree.
And show up and let them know, like, we're here for you. Like, we're just, get it, girl. Get it.
Yeah, and what I see and what I hope, and I think it's trending in the right direction, is that we have more women in influential roles.
Yes.
And you get that by women getting these entry-level jobs, which they've earned, and working their way up. And we're starting to see that. And I think the NBA is a very progressive league. They've led the way. So, in 10 years, we're going to have another Swin Cash. Hopefully before that, we're going to have more women that are running the social media for the league, that are making broadcast decisions, that are making, we need women in every role.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It's very important. These women are qualified. These women that get
Hands
these
down.
jobs are not hired because they're women. And so I'm always supportive of women that have earned it and that are doing their thing. I love it.
We talk about, like, when we had KJ Wright on our show last year.
Oh, I love her.
Love her. And we talk
Surprised
about
she hasn't come by here yet.
Yeah,
she was
she'll
going
be
to
here
come
soon.
photobomb us.
But when she was talking about the way to dress too, because as a woman, people are kind of expect you to dress a certain way, and if you push the limits, people are coming at you, and you get a lot of critics and stuff. However, you found that balance of like dress professionally, but also
You're
staying
fit
true
for
to yourself.
success.
It is a personal choice on how you dress, what you post on social media. All of that is, those choices belong to each and every woman. So what I do and what my method has been to mind my own business and, and choose what I post and choose what I wear. I think you can find a balance of being professional, but also expressing yourself.
Yep.
And so every woman has to do what she can live with. Do what you can live with. There are consequences to, whatever you want to do. Some people are going to like it. Some people are not going to like it. When I dress, I think I err more on the conservative side, but that's my choice.
Yeah.
And somebody might not make that choice, and that's fine. So my entire method is I worry about myself. I do keep in mind that I'm working around men and that I'm working around athletes. So I do try to dress what is considered traditionally professional. But also the last year I tried to I wouldn't say take more risks, but spice it up. And I'm friends with KJ and seeing, how much fun she has with her outfits. Guys, I was wearing all black dresses all the time, which is fine.
Yeah.
But, I was like, maybe I should incorporate.
She does love a good murder show.
I do like
Yeah, it's true.
It's on brand. No, every woman has to make a personal choice on what she wants to wear, what she posts on social media. There's more opportunity than ever to be yourself and to be unique. So I stay in my lane. I worry about what I do, and every woman has the right to move the way she wants to move. And I think that's something that we need to be better about as women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of talking about what every woman is doing and I like that or I don't like that. It's not your life. It
If
doesn't
it's
matter.
for you, it's for you.
There are some women that dress in ways that I would not dress. I wouldn't, but
If they can, do
but
it.
it's not my
I
life.
love that for
right.
them.
Love
Right?
that for them.
Love that for them.
I'm sure I dress, some people probably think my outfits are ugly. That's fine.
Well, we are going to send you on behalf of our partner, Good American, over to the store to let them fit you for
Yay!
success.
I love Good American.
I love it. They're all
So
about
good.
body positivity,
Yeah.
inclusiveness, and just overall feel good.
Yeah.
So we're going to send you over there to go get fitted for some denim so you can have a new
Yay!
fit for success.
I love
can't
that.
wait to see that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, before we let you go, because you are a busy, busy lady, we are going to do a really fun thing. We're going to turn this turntable. It turns in the middle.
What?
It's like a turntable, right?
DJ. Yeah.
We're going to let you pick a question out of here. We don't know what's in here.
Okay.
Some are kind of crazy. Some are kind of normal.
Ooh.
You never know. For Tina's vodka, this is our Tina's vodka fun. It's our jar of fun. So it gets funner the more you drink. It's
Wait,
you.
oh,
Yeah,
I
it's
have
for,
to-
yeah, you
it's
answer
you.
it.
If you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and why? Okay, I'm going to be that girl. that went to Europe once and can't shut up about it. I went to Sardinia, Italy, and the French Riviera with my gals about a month ago. My friend Natalie, who does sideline for the Pistons, a couple other girls that all work in sports in some capacity for the most part. It was a really good group of girls. No drama. We had one girl that was like an expert planner, and it was just the trip of a lifetime. We did a boat tour in Sardinia, Italy. We ate pasta. We drank wine. We did bagatelle in Saint-Tropez.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it just was like, it was amazing. So if I could travel anywhere in the world and why, I would go back there.
She's just hitting that on like repeat.
Yep.
On repeat.
I'd go back. I mean, there are other places I would like to try and would like to go to.
Where's somewhere you want to go?
But, you know, I think it would be really fun to go somewhere like, I mean, I did France, but I didn't go to Paris. So that would probably be fun.
I thought you were going to be like crazy pants right now. And you're going to be like, well, I've done France, but I think I'd like to do Guangzhou, China.
I think I would do Greece.
I want to go to Greece.
Yeah.
I also think there are places in the United States that I haven't gotten to explore.
I want to go to Montana.
Montana, yes, like Western.
I want to go to Montana.
Like feel the Yellowstone vibe.
Yes.
Love that for you.
Yes. I don't want to like go actually have to do all that work like I do out there.
Correct.
I just want to go to the lodge,
and take
live my
pictures
best
and
life.
act like you did the work.
And just sit on the porch,
Love
drink a
that.
coffee,
Yep.
watch the sun come up kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like a hybrid. And then sleep in a really soft bed.
Yeah.
Not in a tent.
I don't camp. Here's the thing. I actually love the outdoors, but I do not camp.
Yeah.
No, who camps?
I hike. I don't camp.
So you like to be outside but not sleep outside?
No, we're not sleeping
That's fair.
outside.
Guess what? I'm not either. High
God
five.
made
We're not.
hotels.
Yeah, no.
God made hotels. We're going to stay in them.
We're good.
Really good ones. We've loved having you on today.
I love
Thank you
being
so
on.
much.
I'm a huge fan of your podcast.
I
I am
love
a
it.
huge fan of, you know, supporting women in sports, creating spaces for honest, authentic conversations, because I don't think that there is nearly enough of that.
yeah.
So thank you for having me on.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for coming on. We can't wait to see you. I'm going to be
Yeah.
at the game tonight.
Good.
We'll
Good.
be
I'll
there.
see you there. Lakers, Rockets.
Okay. We'll be there. I'm sure it'll be a big game. I mean, I don't know. Probably be a big game. Do you think it'll be a big game?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
It'll be
Lakers,
there.
Rockets.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Rookies and summer league's
Yeah.
always fun. So
Yeah.
Always a good time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let us know what your fit for success is.
I will.
want to see what that looks like.
Okay, I
You're
will.
going.
Good American.
Good
It's
American.
happening. Shout out to Dry Bar. They
Yeah.
did my hair. Shout out
Do
to
you
Good
not
American.
feel good?
I feel
love
great.
it.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm not good at hair. I usually just like straighten it. So I love
but
getting
it
my
looks
hair
good.
done.
It looks
I like
really
it.
good.
Thank you.
I like
Thank you guys
it.
for hooking it up.
You know, just one girl at a time converting. One girl at a time.
Love
awesome.
it.
Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay, Kate, I loved having Vanessa on the show today.
So exciting. She's such a great energy. I love her stories of where she started. She was not afraid to get into any job, just wanted experience. We talk about that so much, about how experience is one of the most important things in the sports industry. It's not necessarily where you go to school, what you get a degree in, but it's that experience that allows you to have the confidence and the expertise as you continue to build on your platform and your career throughout the timeless spaces that she's been.
And the fact that Vanessa started doing a radio show as Smooth Jazz Vanessa, we were just talking about that.
That's
That is
my new name. I'm saving it
absolutely-
in my phone. Saving it in my phone.
It's amazing. And just for like young women who watch the show to see, you know, where she started to where she is now, never saying no to these like opportunities that seem so small. And it really pays off in the long run. And it was so great hearing her story and learning more about her journey.
I didn't realize how much goes into not only her day-to-day job, but the travel that comes with it. I think we all forget how much goes into every single person that is a supporting role to these athletes, whether that's in front of the camera, behind the camera. She can do it all, really, to
really
be
can.
honest.
And it's so important for, you know, women like Vanessa to have that relationship with the players where they can trust her and know that she's going to tell, you know, the most honest, best story for these players and highlight them on their network.
But I think it's a true testament to somebody who wants to be really great at her job, but also provide a safe space for people to be able to share their stories, their struggles, their champions. It's a great and beautiful thing to see. I love what the Rockets are doing. I love what she's doing. You guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Her Table. We're right here in Las Vegas at NBA Summer League. But thank you guys so much. We appreciate our sponsors, Good American, Tina's Vodka, We Are the Wild Collective, and also Dry Bar for making us feel absolutely beautiful, fresh to death today. We'll catch you guys soon.